I built the official lots that come with the new Sims 4 horse ranches. You guys, she's done it again. I built the lots that come with the new Sims 4 Horse Ranch expansion pack. I cannot believe that I'm saying this. This has been an absolute bucket list dream of mine to build the official lots that come with an expansion pack. If you guys didn't know, I have actually built for The Sims before. I built the official haunted house that comes with the paranormal stuff pack, but that was a stuff pack which was a little bit different because it didn't come with a world. So deep down, I've always wished that they would ask me back to build for an actual expansion pack, and finally that wish has come true and I'm so excited. Firstly, I want to give a huge thank you to you guys for supporting me along this journey and helping me become a better builder all these years on YouTube. And I know a lot of you have been manifesting this for me and cheering me along every step of the way, so a huge thank you to you. And also a huge thank you to the Sims team for obviously choosing to work with me and trusting in my build skills. It was such a pleasure to work with the Sims team, and I would be honored to do it again anytime, so hit me up whenever you want to. By the way, this video is presented by the EA Creator Network. They're not sponsoring me to make this video, but they did pay me to build the lots, which is a good thing. But in today's video, I'm going to be showing you the behind the scenes of the 3 lots that I built for the new Horse Ranch expansion pack. I'll be showing you the process of me building these lots from start to finish. I'll let you in on the art direction and concept for each build, as well as any limitations, hiccups, or major changes that had to be made. And of course, I'll be spilling the tea on all the drama that happened during this process, and also my personal struggles throughout the process, and just generally talking about my experience building for an official expansion pack. And obviously, I'll tour each one of my builds so you know what you're getting yourself into when you buy the pack. Okay, let's jump right into our first lot, which is Duke Hall. So here we are in the area of New Apaloosa. So this area is kind of like the downtown core of the world, and the lot that I am building currently is the Equestrian Center, also known as Duke Hall. So basically the purpose of this lot is if you want to go enter your horse in a competition, a race at the big arena next door, you can load into this lot first since it's right next door. And this is a very multi-purpose lot. You can come here to get some last minute training before a competition, rest your horse in the stables, feed your horse, just any last minute prep that you want to do before you compete, you can get done right here. Obviously horses is like the main feature of this pack, so I wanted the majority of this lot to be dedicated to the horses. However, the dev team also specified that they thought this would be a good place to also do some tailgating. So before the competition, after the competition, maybe you just won a big horse race and you want to come here and celebrate with all your fans. This is also going to be a place for the trainers as well. I included a living room area on the main floor. I figured that it could maybe be like a champions lounge where all of the winners come and like network and stuff after the race. I also included a barbecue and some picnic tables and also a bar area upstairs so people could come here and have a picnic before the race or come have a party after the race. So I'm just gonna cut right to the T and come out and say it and be honest with you guys. In the beginning, I did not want to build this lot. So one thing you guys might not know is in the very first meeting with the team, they do actually lay out every single lot, exactly what it's going to be, exactly what its intention is, the size, if it's a starter home, if it's a community lot, whatever. It's all very meticulously planned out ahead of time. And we as creators actually have a say in which lots we would prefer to do. Now, there's no guarantee at all whatsoever that we're going to get the lots that we ask for, but they do take our opinion into consideration, I guess. In all fairness, I never expressed that I didn't want to do this lot because at the end of the day, I would be happy to do any lot no matter what. Like, I'm not picky at all. But in the back of my mind, I knew if there was one lot that I didn't want to do, it was going to be this one. And lo and behold, I was assigned this lot, which was very interesting. And if you're wondering, no, I did not act sad or disappointed or ungrateful or mention this at all during the process. Obviously, I was very professional and I understood that they chose everybody to do a specific lot for a reason. And obviously I was chosen to do this lot for a reason and I was going to rise to the occasion. And now that it's all said and done, this is by far my favorite lot that I built for the pack out of all 3 of my lots. So it worked out in the end, clearly. So the reason that I didn't really want this lot initially is firstly because I'm not a horse person. I didn't really know that much about equestrian and horses in general, horse care, any of of that stuff. So when this lot was described as somewhere where you come and train your horse and care for your horse and community comes and hangs out, like I just didn't really know what that looked like in a practical sense whatsoever. So that to me was really scary. I think that when you're building for an official expansion pack and for the official Sims team, there is a lot more pressure to make it perfect. And it's not so much making it perfect for yourself, but making it perfect for the hundreds of thousands of people that are inevitably going to use this lot. Also, as you guys know, I'm more of a residential home builder. I don't necessarily excel at community lots. So overall, maybe I was just scared. Maybe I should rephrase. It's not that I didn't want to do this lot. I was more so scared that my skills would be inadequate to do a lot like this. I also knew that people often bulldoze or renovate residential lots like without a second thought, but oftentimes community lots are the last to get bulldozed or renovated, and a lot of times people just don't bother changing them at all. So I was like, this could be like stuck in someone's game forever, so it literally has to be perfect because they might never change it. So I would say all of that experience kind of turned into motivation, and I started to think like, wow, like my lot is going to be really important for this pack. It's going to be like one of the pinnacle lots for this pack that undoubtedly everyone is going to play in, and everybody who has a horse is going to touch this lot. And that kind of made me really happy and excited, and my tiny little sliver of disappointment turned into motivation, and that is kind of what made me create this lot and it become what it is today. Okay, wait, the other thing that also really got me motivated is the development team basically gave me zero direction as to where they wanted this lot to go, besides the fact that they said they wanted animal care and some animal activities. That was like all they really put on the brief. And they specifically told me that they wanted to see what I had in mind. And they really trusted me to bring this vision to life, whatever that vision is, and they trusted me to come up with something that would be useful for this world. So I don't know, maybe some builders wouldn't like that, but I personally really thrive on that sense of responsibility that a Sims development team trusts me to bring whatever my vision is to life and hope that it's also their vision. So I really loved the creative freedom that they gave me, and also just the sense of trust that we had to create something magical together. And honestly, the biggest compliment I got, and this was probably one of the most memorable and rewarding moments of the entire experience, was when I finally submitted the first draft of my build, and they told me that the team basically had no idea what they wanted for this lot, but once they saw my build, it kind of clicked for them, and they were like, yeah, that's what we want. So I basically built them the lot that they didn't know they wanted, but it ended up being perfect in their eyes. So yeah, obviously the Sims team was really happy with my build, but my only hope is that all of you guys will enjoy it just as much, so I really hope you guys do. So the second little piece of tea is I actually did request that this lot be a little bit bigger. So the lot is currently a 40 by 30, which is already a pretty big lot, and I was hoping that maybe I could get a little bit more depth into it and make it a 40 by 40, just to add a little bit more space for all of the horse activities like the jumps and like the barrels and stuff. They take up quite a bit of room. On top of the stables and the beds and the horse feeders, there's just a lot of really big objects that go into the horse care in general. So I was kind of hoping just to get a little bit more room there. However, it didn't seem like it was possible, and that's totally fine. I think I made it work. I basically built to the edge of the lot on all of my builds just to really maximize the space that I had with each build. You can also see that the lot basically perfectly fits into the surrounding environment already. There's like a environment pathway going around the lot. So they obviously couldn't change that anymore, and the lot couldn't be any bigger than it was. But I think that's a really good thing to note, that some things that you might think are just a super simple, easy fix, like making a lot a little bit bigger, sometimes those things aren't as easy as you might think, and there's a lot of work that goes into creating the environment around the lots and deciding the size of the lots for the entire world ahead of time, that sometimes these tiny changes aren't actually that tiny. So I thought it was extremely fascinating to see like what was feasible and what wasn't from a game development perspective, and it just gives you a newfound perspective and appreciation for all of the work and preparation it goes into building the game and all of the different teams and people that are working on it at once. But that's all the tea I have for this build. Let's go tour the final product now. Here we are in Duke Hall. As you can see, we are literally right across the street from the competition center. So anytime you want to enter your horse into a competition, the logical thing would be to load into this slot first so you can kind of get your horse ready, train them up a little bit before they go off to compete. So this is what the front facade looks like, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I think that it looks really classy, but also very interesting. So I think that it looks like a horse stable that has been around for a very long time, but has maybe been updated over the years. Like maybe they put a fresh coat of white paint, but kept like the exposed original beams or something like that. So let's go into the build really quickly. So here you can see in the main body, we have our 4 horse stables. I thought that 4 was a good enough number. At first I had like something crazy like 8. And then I realized that like maybe that was a little bit overkill, and given the size of the lot, I wanted there to be enough space to do everything we wanted, like not just horse stuff. So we have just the 4 main horse stables in here, and then the horses have enough room to walk through here to 3 main feeding stations. When you're in live mode, you just have to click to like fill this with some food first, and then it will show like a bunch of like hay and grass and stuff, so it's really cute. Here I did like this little makeshift washing station. Obviously it's not like functional to actually wash your horse, but I watched a lot of equestrian TikToks and saw a bunch of tours of like these luxurious stables, and they all had this like nice white subway towel area where it looked like they washed the horses in these little stalls. So I thought it'd be nice to create kind of like these mini little shower stalls for them. Now from here, the horses can just exit out these beautiful open barn doors like so, and go out back here to do any training. So I have 2 of these like jump things, 1 of these barrel obstacle things, and then this little like beach ball is a ball that the horses can play on. It's super, super cute. So I had to include 1 of those. As you can see, it's like really close to the edge of the lot. So I really used every last grid space that I possibly could. As you guys know, I asked for this lot to be bigger, but you know, after seeing the finished product here, I feel like it doesn't really need to be bigger. It has everything it needs just in this space here. Now through this way, this is where the Sims are gonna hang out, so I closed it off with a full wall and like a full window so the horse smell wouldn't like linger through to the other side. Also, by the way, you can see the painted ceilings, which is very, very exciting, obviously. So through here is the social area. Here is kind of like that champions lounge I was talking about. I imagine them coming over here and networking, enjoying a nice beverage after a good victory. I wanted this to look more luxurious and formal, and also maybe a little bit historical too, with some of the different artwork on the wall and some of the artifacts on display here. I didn't want this to feel like a museum per se, but I did want it to feel like an equestrian center that had a lot of history and has been present in the town for many, many years. Like maybe some of these paintings were donated by some horse champions that came from this town or something a long time ago. Now if you go upstairs here, I really love this cutout, by the way, because I was able to display this really nice like low-lying chandelier. I thought that was perfect. So up here we have the bar area, and also come out to the picnic table here. So my vision for this upper balcony area would be for where spectators would come and watch the horses train. I imagine they're trying to scout out which horse is the most promising one so they can place their bets accordingly, or maybe even come here on an off day to watch them train. So it really just is like the equivalent of a community center where like the equestrian community just likes to gather. And then down here we just have another picnic area with a barbecue. Also, I just want to say that I'm pretty sure I didn't add these lights. I think the Sims team might have added to my builds after the fact, which is totally fine, by the way. They did give us a heads up that there could be some tiny changes being made to our builds after the fact, so that's totally fine, but I just noticed. I'm pretty sure I didn't put those there. One of the pieces of feedback that I got was originally this balcony went all the way to the edge here, and then I had the barbecue underneath, and they said it might be a little bit weird because you don't want to barbecue in like an enclosed space because it might get too smoky. So they asked me if there was any way to kind of make it feel a little bit more open, and that's when I decided to add this kind of trellis bit, and they really liked it. They thought it was a great idea. It definitely solved the problem of like feeling like it's gonna get too smoky under the balcony, and it just makes it feel way more open. Now, one thing I forgot to mention earlier is you might be wondering, why is there like a chess table here and why is there a swing set here? And that's because we actually have this lot classified as a park. And originally what was going to happen is they were debating on whether or not they needed to make a completely separate lot type for this equestrian center. And apparently there are some complications with adding a brand new lot type. So the dev team did task me with the challenge to see if I could make this lot work within the park requirements. That way they don't need to make a brand new lot type. So with the park requirement, you do need a chess table and playground equipment, which isn't really what I had in mind for the equestrian center. However, I was able to like really subtly make it work in kind of like a slick and integrated way, in my opinion. Like, this is super subtle, like you wouldn't really notice it. It's off to the side here, and then the chess table up here is just a small little subtle activity if you want to come have some quiet time up here and like catch up with an old friend or something. Also, this build is a very typical Dr. Ashley color scheme with the white wood and the neutrals and tons of windows with lots of natural light. So I did try to add a pop of color on the interior just to, you know, make it look a little bit more fun. And yeah, feel free to change the color on the interior to whatever color you want. Like the blue or like the red looked really nice as well. It also looks really good with the sun setting. I just love the sun against this nice stone for some reason. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys like this classy Duke Hall Equestrian Center. Let's move on to my next build. Here we are in my second build, and this one is called Grapevine Terrace, and it's in the Riders Glen neighborhood. This neighborhood is a little bit more lush. You're gonna see vineyards in the distance. You're gonna have a lot of winemaking here, some animal care, and a lot of farmhouse style builds, which is obviously up my alley. So the house that I built on this lot is what I want to call like a farmhouse villa. We have some elements of the white wood siding as well as some stone elements as well, which is giving it that villa look. It's supposed to be very luxurious. There is a winemaking cellar on the first floor, and also in the back there's like a little mini vineyard so you can grow your own grapes. It's a 3-bedroom and 2-bathroom home, so if you have a family of 4 or something, and maybe you don't want to get right into horse gameplay, but you want to get into winemaking and living on a vineyard, this house would be perfect for them. This house is also uninhabited, by the way, so there's no townie living here, so it's ready for your family to move right in. For this house, I wanted it to look like it was upgraded over the years, so maybe it was an older traditional farmhouse. They still have some of the exposed wooden beams inside from the original home, and they've just upgraded and renovated small elements of it throughout the years. So I really wanted to walk that fine line of some of the furniture items looking more vintage or old school or traditional, but then also some areas looking like they're renovated and they're modern and contemporary and updated. Because let's be honest, you can't hire Dr. Ashley to build for a pack and not expect it to be a little bit modern and luxurious, right? That's also an interesting thing to note about how they choose the builders to build for each pack. They look at our builds ahead of time, like they know what styles we're good at. So during the feedback meetings, they go through everybody's builds on a Zoom call with like everybody there, the entire Sims team. There's like 20 people in the call. So I'm sitting there seeing everybody else's builds and hearing the feedback they're getting. And then they're also watching me get my feedback on my builds as well. Like we literally go through each person's build one by one in front of everybody. You would think that it would be really awkward and scary, but it's not. It's like so much fun. The devs are so nice. We're like cracking jokes and everyone involved is like really professional, obviously. But anyways, when I was watching everybody else's builds, I was getting like kind of like insecure in a way because everyone was really leaning into kind of like a more rundown, shabby looking farmhouse. Some people had to build more of a like wooden shack style home, so obviously it was a little bit more brown and run down and stuff. And my builds were over here with like white paint and had more of a modern twist, so I was getting a little bit nervous thinking like, oh no, like did I miss the mark here? Like, did I completely not understand the brief whatsoever? And I just completely dropped the ball here? Like, that was going through my head. So obviously I kind of like briefly mentioned it to the dev team, and I was like, I feel like my builds are like maybe a little bit too modern. And they reassured me like, no, we know you give a modern twist to all of your builds, and that's kind of your style, and that's a large part of why we chose you to build the lots that you're doing. So that was a huge relief, obviously, and it was really reassuring to know that my ability to add a modern touch to things that maybe aren't supposed to be inherently modern is the reason why they wanted me to work on this pack and do the 3 specific builds that I'm doing. So yeah, I think that's a really good lesson to know, that everybody's build style is unique and everybody's strengths are unique. So even amongst the 4 of us creators that were chosen, all of our build and design styles are vastly different. And that's exactly why we got to be a part of it. So it's never a matter of somebody is better than another person. At the end of the day, we're all here to do a specific job and bring to life a specific lot or a specific concept, and each one of us checked a box in a different way. Also, I don't know if it's coming off like I was just like stressed and insecure throughout this entire process. It wasn't. Like 99% of the time, it was so much fun. We were just laughing and like spamming the Discord and chatting up a storm in the Discord, and just so much collaboration and just like an amazing experience overall. I just wanted to also share the little 1% tidbits of struggles or drama and real emotions that come up when you're building for such a large scale project like this. However, I will say there is actual real tea about this lot, okay? So first I want to preface this and say that this lot, when we got to rank which lots we wanted the most, this lot was my number 1 pick. So you heard it here. This is my personal opinion. This is the nicest lot in the entire world, okay? It's just my opinion. Everyone's going to want to build on this lot, which unfortunately means that everyone's going to be bulldozing this beautiful house and replacing it with their own house, which is totally fine, obviously. And the reason why I think this is the nicest lot is because it has a beautiful driveway up to a hill, and it's surrounded by a vineyard. You have like your own private vineyard with like a stone fence, a huge driveway. There's like a vineyard in the distance. It's just so beautiful. It's giving like Italian villa vineyard, okay? The environment designers like went ham on this one. Mad respect to them because it's so nice. So as soon as I saw the nice vineyard leading up to the lot, I was like, that's my number 1. It's my number 1. I want that one. Like, I'll fight someone for this lot. Like, I want it so badly. Let me know down below, by the way, if you agree that this is the nicest lot in the game, because I need to know that we're on the same page. But anyways, I ranked this lot as number 1. However, the tea is this lot was actually supposed to be a starter home. I think it's absolutely wild, that I ranked a starter home as number 1, because I'm not good with budgets, okay? I think I've maybe made like 2 starter homes in my entire life. I'm not a budget person. I don't even know if I am physically capable of making a starter home at all. So I thought it was really bold of me to rank a starter home as number 1, given my lack of expertise in the starter department and my skills in the more luxury department of things. So I don't know what I was thinking. I just really wanted this lot, okay? The lot was too beautiful to pass up. That just goes to show how much I wanted this beautiful lot. I was willing to rank a starter home as my first choice. So anyways, I got the lots. It's a starter home. I start building the starter home, and I tell you, you guys, I rebuilt this home 3 times as a starter lot. It was supposed to be a starter lot where you can come in and get right into nectar making in a starter home capacity, you know what I mean? And, you know, I tried my best. I think the most difficult part was the juxtaposition of having this luxurious stone fence and driveway and vineyard going up a hill, and then seeing this tiny little unlandscaped starter home sitting at the top of the hill. Like, it just wasn't really working now, was it? I'll show you guys some of the iterations of the starter homes that I tried to make on this lot. However, the environment just really took over because the starter home just looked so lackluster compared to the beautiful environment. So I submitted my starter home in the first draft, and I was pretty pleased with the starter home. I think I spent the most time out of every build that I did, I spent on the starter home. Like probably 8 hours, I want to say, which is wild when you think of a starter home. I submitted it and I was like, this is what we can do. And then basically the first feedback session came and we got into the meeting and they said, you know what, this lot is too beautiful to be budget constricted. So we want you to scrap the starter home idea and just go wild. They're like, make something luxurious enough to match this surrounding environment. And like, when I tell you in the meeting, I was like drooling, okay? I was like holding back, like cheering. I think I was on mute in the Zoom call, but I was like fist pumping, you know? It's music to my ears, right? As a builder, when the team tells you you don't need a budget anymore, like, okay. So yeah, I was extremely pleased, and obviously that's what resulted in the build that we have today. And I'm super grateful to the Sims team for, you know, opening up the gate and letting me fly away into luxurious, no budget town, because I really love how it ended up looking, and I think that it fits the environment much, much better. I will say the one downside is I had to completely start over my build, which means that I had one less session to receive feedback for. So we had 4 feedback sessions in total. And since the first one, pretty much I had to scrap my work after the first one. So that's one downside. I had to work a little bit quicker, but you know, I think it was worth it in the end. And I'm really happy with the final product. So yeah, let's go give it a tour. Here's my luxurious farmhouse villa. Now, you know what I mean when I say that the landscaping to this one is just so beautiful. Like, look at this luxurious driveway and this like personal little vineyard you have going in your front yard. Like, there's no way you could put a starter home on top of this beautiful property. Like, there's no way. It had to be something like this. But I just love this property so much. The landscaping is so lush and luxurious. It seems like the people that live here would just go for a nice little romantic walk around their property for fun anytime, because there's just so many little nooks to explore and enjoy. I tried to, again, maximize the entire space of the lot and like build to the very edge. And I also drew inspiration from the stone fence in the landscaping to inspire kind of the stone fence that I used here for the house as well. It has a cute kind of classic farmhouse facade, but I think with the addition of these extra pieces with stone, it really gives it that like elevated, luxurious villa look. And one of my favorite parts of this home is the back right here. I think it looks just so luxurious from the back. I love a good paved terrace, and then I added this sunken fire pit, which I think is like peak luxury, if you know what I mean. And this is like the on-site little mini vineyard where I have some grapevines like pre-planted here, so you can get started on your nectar making right away. And I don't know if you noticed during the speed build portion, but the front of the home, it looks like this. And originally I had the back of the home basically mirroring the front of the home exactly. And I was really struggling with that because I wanted the back of the home to look like really different and very interesting and just have like a really distinct look to it. So that's when I decided to add this like kind of jutting out piece right here with these big open barn doors, and decided to put my nectar making station in there. And yeah, I think this is one of the builds where I like the back almost like more than the front in a way. But let's go on to the interior. So here is the completed interior. You can see it is quite open concept. I used a ton of platforms, obviously, and a ton of like exposed beams. We have a nice living room area here with a bunch of activities. Through this door is where you can go into the nectar making station. So we have like all of the nectar equipment here in storage. I wanted it to kind of look like a wine cellar of sorts, but instead of it being like in a basement, it's ground level, which I think is totally fine. So I love this area right here, and I like how it integrates so well with the home. Through this small hallway, we just have these stairs to go to our second floor, and then we have this nice luxurious kitchen. I love the look of these shabby counters contrasting against these modern stainless steel appliances and this clean backsplash. It just creates like a really cool transitional vibe. And I don't think I added this chair to the end here, but I think it looks totally fine. So thanks, Sims team. Love that. I love this dining room. I love how moody it is with the dark wallpaper. Down here is our first bedroom. I figured this could be for like a young adult or maybe a teenager or something like that. I tried to keep them pretty neutral. Upstairs we have 2 bedrooms. This one is for a child, but it can easily be changed to like another adult bedroom if you wanted to, or even make it into like a dedicated home office or an art studio or whatever you want. And then here is the primary bedroom. I tried to go for different color schemes in each bed, with each of them having like some sort of accent wall. This one's obviously yellow, that one was green, and then this one's like the dark blue. So I tried to add as much color as I could while also staying true to my typical neutral color palette. Now up here is just kind of like a flex living room. Basically the downstairs living room, because I wanted to incorporate the fireplace, it didn't have a TV, so I figured I'd put it up here. So yeah, that is the nectar making luxurious farmhouse villa. I absolutely love it. It'd be great as like a vacation home too. You can have a little getaway to come do some winemaking on this like private vineyard. I mean, the property is absolutely beautiful. This would be like a great vacation home too. So even if you don't end up living here, definitely keep it and then come here for vacation. Here's what it looks like with the sun setting. You can see the white paint pop a little bit more, and it's definitely like a typical Dr. Ashley build, and I am so proud that we have a Dr. Ashley farmhouse in the game now officially. Let me know which build is your favorite so far. Let's move on to my final build. So this is the last build that I worked on. I think I worked on it like 2 days before the deadline. So yeah, I kind of whipped this one together, and then, you know, we tweaked it along the way throughout the process. This whole process took like months, by the way, so it definitely wasn't an overnight thing. I feel like I've been looking at these builds for like over half a year at this point, so it's been a really long time coming, you guys. But we are back in New Apaloosa, which is that downtown area that I showed in my first build, and this house is called Champions Grove. The concept of this build was pretty straightforward. We were gonna have one of the main townies living in this home along with their championship horse. So this townie is a championship equestrian rider and has won many equestrian competitions in their life. So now they are very well off, they're very respected, everyone in the town knows them. And basically I had to build a home that reflected the lavish lifestyle of a championship equestrian rider and their horse. So this type of home was definitely up my alley. I was hearing the words lavish, luxurious, champion. You know, this person has some money. We got it, okay? I got you. I 100% leaned more contemporary for this build because, like I said, this sim has money, they have prestige, they're very well known in the town, they're a champion in this horse town, so it's not unusual that they would have possibly the nicest house in the town. It would be completely renovated and updated and just like a cut above the rest. In one of the first feedback sessions, one of the art directors, his name is Steven, said that he really liked this build because it was giving like contemporary Joanna Gaines farmhouse style. And when I tell you, a single tear came from my eye, like I was so happy. That's like the best compliment you could ever receive. I was honored, and ever since I received that compliment, I think like, you know, my life is complete. Another thing to note is that this pack has a lot of references to First Nations culture, especially in like the clothing, some of the furniture items, and the decorations, and the townie that lives here is also First Nations. So I was sure to include some of those traditional patterns and decor pieces throughout the build, especially in things like the rugs and the upholstery on the chairs, and then some of the little art pieces as well. You can just imagine a big hand-woven traditional print rug would take like ages to make and would be so expensive. It adds luxury and culture and style and expression to this build, which I think really helps differentiate it from other builds as well. However, a lot of the First Nations decor and just like furniture pieces in general weren't added to our game until like many months later. So a lot of items that you see me put down here are just placeholder, and then they get swapped out in the final build. Like all of the builds so far, I have to spill a little bit of tea here. And I hope that I made the right decision and you guys aren't going to be mad at me, but this build was originally, because it's a 20 by 30 or 30 by 20 or however you call it, it was originally like deeper than it is wide. So it was 30 deep and 20 wide. However, this pack is called Horse Ranch. And if you look at a lot of traditional ranch homes, a lot of them are quite wide. And the facade of the build is like very horizontal, if you know what I mean. So I thought that it would make sense if we rotated the lot 90 degrees and gave it more width than depth. Also, with the way the environment looked around the lot, there was like an awkward amount of yard like on either side that it just felt like the build was like way too skinny on the lot and it needed to like take up more space width-wise. So yeah, I asked them to rotate it and they did. So I really hope that you guys like it rotated better, and I hope you think it makes more sense, because that was literally me who told them to do that. So if you guys don't like it, I'm really sorry. It's not their fault, it's my fault. But I think I made the right decision. I mean, look, the build looks way better with all that extra space. So you know what? No regrets, no regrets. One thing that I did do to save space is I actually attached the horse stable to the home. So my thought process was that this owner is like besties with their horse, you know? They have won races, they've become champions together. They're like, you know, family basically. So I didn't really, I didn't have the space, but I also didn't really want to have the horse completely detached from the home either. I thought, why not make like a custom stable like attached to your home? Obviously in real life it might be like a little bit stinky to have it like too close, I'm not really sure, but I figured in The Sims it was kind of a cool idea. And then I ended up creating this little walkway that goes from the home office into the stable. I think it was a really effective way to use the space and use the entire lot size. And it also creates a very functional floor plan, you know, nothing's too far apart or spread out, so you can get to your horse stable pretty quickly. A fun fact to know about like the game optimization side of things is every single item you place has a cost associated with it. Not necessarily a monetary cost, but like a game functioning cost. Basically what that means is the more items you place on the lot, the less smooth the game will run, which I'm sure we're all well aware of. However, what you might not know is that not every single item is equal. So a tiny little plant clutter piece might cost like nothing, but an interactable object like an easel or a computer might cost more. And to my surprise, one of the items that costs a lot are kitchen counters. So the dev team advised us to keep our kitchen counters to a minimum and really only put what was necessary. So when I made the kitchen for this build, I was thinking like, oh no, like that's kind of a lot of counters. What if they make me change it? And you guys know me, I love my kitchens, okay? I need a really big kitchen in all of my builds. Ultimately, they reviewed it and they said, well, it kind of makes sense that this sim would have a big kitchen because they're more well off, they're affluent, they're probably having really big dinner parties, they're very popular. They'd have tons of friends in the town coming over for dinner all of the time. So it made sense to have a big kitchen and have all of those counters, and I was like, phew, because I don't know what I would have done if I had to downsize that kitchen. But anyways, let's go check out the tour. Here's the final build. This is Champions Grove for a horse champion and their prize-winning horse as well. So I definitely think that I made the right decision to ask them to rotate the lot. Like even the like fencing and everything, it just like fits perfectly with the landscaping, I feel like. So for this home, I went for a one-story home, and I drew a lot of inspiration from like those typical ranch style homes that have like a really long horizontal facade. And I absolutely love this one. I like how you can show off a lot of the width of these like beautiful barn doors. I was sure to landscape this home really nicely. Obviously, the sim who lives here would have really luxe landscaping. Now around the back here, we have the integrated stable like I was talking about. I think that it works really well at the home. It also helps to add add like more depth to the home, since this is kind of like a wide and like skinny build, if you know what I mean. So back here we just have a nice barbecue, another little fire pit area, and some outdoor dining. Here is where the horse will live, in this beautiful, crisp, white, clean stable. Very luxurious in my opinion. We have everything that we need. Also a cute little bench here in case the horse owner wants to come sit here and like hang out with their horse and stuff. And this is what I was talking about with the little walkway that connects the two. I thought that this would be a really good way to like naturally connect these two spaces while also keeping it kind of separate with like that indoor-outdoor feel. Now it connects here to the office. I was sure to include a bunch of like first place ribbons here to signify that the person who lives here is obviously a champion. And I also included a ton of platforms in this build. Obviously, you guys know I love my platforms. It wouldn't be a Dr. Ashley build without platforms, so even if I'm building for an official expansion pack, it would be no different. We have the kitchen and dining room area elevated up here. I just imagine this sim having tons of people over all the time. And then we have our nice big living room and grand fireplace here. So I used a ton of the new objects that came with this pack. I know other simmers have mentioned in the past that their first iterations of their builds were basically completely base game, but we actually had like quite a lot of furniture to work with right off the bat, so I was really grateful for that. Up through here is just the entrance of the home. It's again elevated on a platform, which I think adds a lot of depth and dimension to the build. Down this hallway we just have the one bathroom over here and a little chess table, just because, you know, we wanted some activities here besides just the horse. And then here is the one and only bedroom. So obviously I wanted to make this bedroom feel really luxurious, so I thought it'd be nice to add kind of like a walk-in closet, but instead of closing off the closet, make it kind of like an open concept platformed walk-in closet. And I don't know, quite frankly, I just thought it looked really cool, so why not? But for this bedroom, I drew inspiration from this beautiful turquoise color that was present in the bed and also on this piece of art. So I decided to really lean into that and put two accent walls here with that nice bright green paint. One thing that they did ask us to do was the squint test. So basically they would say like lean back a bit and squint, and if everything just looks beige to you, then you need to add some color, whether it's with a rug or a chair or like a wall color, anything. You have to make sure when you squint there are some pops of color. So yeah, here's my Champions Grove residential lot for a luxurious, rich champion sim and their horse. I think the floor plan is super functional, and the outside, I love the outside. I think it's so pretty, and it came together exactly how I wanted it. So I hope you guys like it. You guys like it? I hope you guys do. I think you're going to be interacting with this townie a lot because they're so knowledgeable about horses. So you're going to learn everything about equestrian and horses and horse care from them. So hopefully your sims will get to come and visit this lot all the time and become friends with this sim. Let me know what you guys think of this one down below, and feel free to rank my builds from like first to last on which one's your favorite and which one's your least favorite. I'm so interested to know. I also forgot to show off that I painted the ceilings in all of these builds, so don't worry, I got you. Your screenshots are gonna look awesome in all of my builds because I was sure to paint the ceilings. I have a confession. Approximately 2 minutes before the final submission of our builds, I realized that I had forgotten to paint like all of the ceilings and all of my builds, and this was going to be like the last submission. Like there were no changes after this submission, and I realized I hadn't painted a single ceiling, like maybe one or two, but not all of them. So I was like rushing, going through every single build to make sure the ceilings were painted, because I almost like fully submitted it without ceiling paint, and that would have been, you know, an absolute tragedy. So luckily I got it all in, and I'm pretty sure I didn't miss a single ceiling, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I did it. We're good. We're good. Don't neglect your ceilings now, you guys. We have the feature. You better use it. I hope you guys enjoyed this overview of the 3 lots that I built for the new Sims 4 Horse Ranch expansion pack. I am so grateful that I was able to have this opportunity, and it still just doesn't feel real that I'm making this video and sharing this with you all. A huge thank you to the Sims 4 developers who I worked with on this project. You guys are such an inspiration to me, and I appreciate all of your hard work and your feedback pack, and I just loved working with you guys, and thank you so much for entrusting me to bring your hard work and your vision to life. I know that there are just so many names and people and teams involved in this pack, and yeah, the least I could do is bring all of that hard work to life. So I really appreciate you choosing me and having me involved in such an amazing project. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Also, I know that a lot of other simmers have built for expansion packs before and have probably talked about like the process and the meetings and stuff like that in videos, so you might already be familiar with all of the like limitations and stuff of building for a pack. So I really tried to dive into more of like the tea and the drama and just like more of the emotional aspect of building for an expansion pack. But with that being said, if you guys have any other questions about my builds or my thoughts on the pack in general, or just anything else that we talked about today, feel free to drop them in the comments down below, and I'll try and get back to you guys in the comment section or maybe in a voiceover for a future speed build. But that's all for today's video. I really hope you guys like the 3 builds that I made for this pack. I hope you guys are proud of me. I just want someone to be proud of me. And yeah, let me know if you buy the new Sims 4 Horse Ranch pack. I mean, you better, right? I mean, yeah, you have to buy it. I don't get commission. I probably should, but I don't. But yeah, tell me if you get it. And if you don't, then we're not friends anymore. I'm just joking, but I'll see you guys in my next video. I love you.